did you see that when DB came back and played for us, that they got mad that our fan base was booing her?
I don't believe in booing former players unless they left on like some type shit.
You're watching the exact moment Sophie Cunningham shattered the decades-old WNBA playbook that's been quietly scripting the league's narrative. What began as a casual podcast chat about Dana Bonner's messy departure has erupted into something much bigger. And now the old-school media gatekeepers are scrambling to here's what they don't want you to notice. Sophie just proved that players like her, Caitlin Clark, and the Indiana Fever don't need ESPN, The Athletic, or the league's long-protected media darlings to tell their stories anymore. She skipped the outdated channels, went straight to the fans, and pulled in more authentic engagement than most mainstream sports reporters get in an entire year. For an industry built on gatekeeping, that's not just uncomfortable, it's an existential threat. Show your support for Sophie. Drop a spicy Sophie in the comments. Let's go.
I like DB because like DB was one of my bets when I was in Phoenix, and then we gathered here into Indiana, and like it was kind of a surprise that she was signed to Indiana anyway, and so we'll take her in a heartbeat. Like she's a Hall of Famer, she's a hell of a basketball player, can score from anywhere on the court.
Before we unpack how Sophie Cunningham accidentally cracked open the WNBA's media machine, picture this. A league where players control their own stories, no bias filters, no anti-Clark spin, no agendas pitting teammates against each other. What Sophie just did goes way beyond the Bonner drama. We're watching the dawn of a new era. One that could completely flip the script on who gets to decide the story in women's basketball.
I just think, and you know way better than me,
yeah.
But like, it just feels like people are jealous of this new little wave of.
They are, but I just hate that because like, this is what we've always wanted as a league. So like, who cares who gets the credit? And if you're smart, you're making money off of them.
Yeah.
Like you are literally making money from the viewership.
And why bully the person who is like, not 100% responsible, but like has a huge role in growing your support.
Dude, and it literally like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
For years, legacy sports media built walls around WNBA coverage, deciding who got airtime, which stories fit the brand, and who got buried. Sophie just proved those walls aren't made of stone. They're wet tissue paper that lets break down how a single unfiltered podcast episode exposed just how fragile the system really is. And why every major outlet is now scrambling to lock down player partnerships before they lose their grip on the narrative. The warning sign. The numbers. Sophie's following has surged past 1.6M on TikTok and 1.1M on Instagram, more than the combined reach of most so-called insider WNBA reporters. She built that empire while ESPN was busy pretending Caitlin Clark's record-breaking nights didn't exist.
I went from I think like
followers, yeah,
350,000 and like maybe 200,000 on TikTok.
You had 200,000 on TikTok a month ago?
No, I
before the fight,
and then I had like 350 on 100,000 on Instagram. Over the night, or over like a day and a half, over 1 million on both. Insane. This is coming from me though, dude. I got tired of seeing myself.
I get it.
And I love myself.
Oh, I get it.
I love myself. I was over.
Here's where the game flipped. Sophie didn't climb by kissing the ring of the old guard. She spoke the language fans actually understand. Unapologetic, competitive, real. While others polished their image to stay media safe, Sophie went directly to the people. No editors, no spin, no corporate PR script. She dropped a truth bomb on her Show Me Something podcast that turned the Bonner controversy upside down. That I in the old days. That kind of intel would trickle to a beat reporter, get massaged, delayed, and diluted before it ever reached the fans.
She got to Indiana and she just like really wasn't happy. And like, I want people to be happy. So that's why I'm kind of like neutral on this one, which a lot of people are surprised about. She's towards the end of her career. So like, she deserves her flowers. She deserves to be happy. But I also think that if you're going to leave, like you're going to have to expect getting booed. Like,
was there explanation when it happened? No. Not even privately. Yeah, I mean, okay. That's tough. And yeah, okay. Well, I did say what? Unless you leave on some you type shit, and that's what that is, so.
Sophie looked at that old playbook and said, yeah, no. She told the story herself, and told it better than any outsider could because she lived it. She had first-hand credibility, the context, and the platform to drop it without asking permission. A level of freedom the establishment media does not want Caitlin Clark or any Indiana Fever player to have.
Like, I want her to end her career and be happy, but I also think that, like, it's okay to be professional about it and, like, send a text to your teammates. Send a text and be like, hey, like, love you guys. Or you don't even have to say love you guys. Just like, hey, sorry this didn't work out. Good luck. Da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? Like, there's a way to handle that, I think.
And here's the strategic bombshell most people missed. Sophie's podcast isn't some garage project with a cheap mic. It's backed by Colin Cowherd's sports media empire, The Volume. The first major crossover between a WNBA player's content and real mainstream sports media muscle. They didn't sign her out of charity or token support for women's sports. They signed her because they saw what ESPN refused to: real. Player-driven storytelling destroys sterile, politically safe coverage every time. That deal sends a loud message. WNBA stars no longer have to stay locked in the women's sports corner. They can step into the mainstream, reach a hungrier audience, and tell the truth, even if it threatens the old hierarchy. And now, big networks are scrambling to sign their own WNBA players. Why? Because Sophie just proved fans will pick authentic player content over ESPN's corporate-approved narratives every single time.
Really good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah to that. I'm all for that. But when people try to argue that she's not the face of our league,
Yeah.
or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit.
Yeah.
You're literally.
Sophie is breaking the league's Protect the Veterans code, the one that says, never criticize the inner circle, never expose the politics, never give fans a reason to question the sacred cows. She looked at that unspoken rule and called it what it was: broken. She told the truth about Bonner's messy exit, not because it was easy, but because it was real, and that willingness to put truth over politics. That's exactly what new WNBA fans, especially Caitlin Clark's massive fan base, have been starving for. While the old media played it safe.
One of the biggest stars the WNBA's ever
Who's that?
had. Her name rhymes with Schmaitlin.
Hurtland?
Yeah. What has that been like, seeing her not only kind of transform a league, but also just be like,
No,
is that fair to say?
not even just the league, but like
The
women's
sport,
basketball as a whole around the
Yeah.
world. No, I think it's awesome. I think it's so funny because she's like 22, 23 years old and the whole world is watching.
That fiery defense of Caitlin Clark? That was Sophie speaking directly to the very fans the old WNBA machine has been pushing away for months. While legacy journalists wrapped Clark's rise in cautious, she just needs time, narratives, and hollow calls for balance, Sophie called her critics dumb as hell. And she meant it. That wasn't just authentic, it was a calculated masterstroke. She zeroed in on the league's fastest-growing, most passionate fanbase, Clark's, and spoke their language, not the stale jargon of the establishment. She chose expansion over exclusion, and her engagement numbers proved the gamble paid off.
You have seen players in our league try to like toughen up Caitlin. We call her CC. For even when I wasn't on her team, like I know the talks that Phoenix had in the locker room of like, no, we're gonna prove her, we're gonna show her what the W really is. You know what I mean? And like, I get it to a certain extent. And like every rookie coming into the league, that's how you're gonna treat them. But
Right.
there's just
The traditional sports press wants players to stick to sanitized, sponsor-approved quotes, because that keeps them as the essential interpreters. But when Sophie speaks directly and unapologetically, that whole middleman layer becomes useless. Fans don't need a reporter to explain her message. She says it clearly and everyone gets it. That alone sends chills through traditional journalists. Because if players like Sophie and Caitlin can reach millions, build huge followings, and control their stories without gatekeepers, then what exactly are those gatekeepers selling? Their entire business model relied on controlled access. They had the relationships and platforms players were told they needed. Sophie just exposed that myth.
oh, it's her second year. And like now being on her team and like seeing it, I'm like, what are people doing? Like, actually, it's just too much. And
Yeah.
like, it's just, I'm over. And if I'm saying it's too much,
And this shift isn't about just one player finding her voice. Sophie's success is setting a new standard for every WNBA player. Fans now demand raw, unfiltered honesty, not the cookie-cutter, PR-approved lines that used to pass as normal. Other players are looking at Sophie's numbers and the influence she's built, asking themselves, why are we still letting media gatekeepers filter our voices when we could speak straight to the people? The incentive system has flipped entirely. Here's the prediction that will keep old-school editors up at night. Within 6 months, a handful of major WNBA names will launch their own shows using Sophie's cut out the middleman blueprint. The proof of concept is here. Sophie didn't just dent the WNBA's media machine. She revealed it was fragile all along, that IT only worked because players believed they needed traditional coverage more than traditional coverage needed them. Sophie shattered that illusion and showed that direct, authentic fan connection beats scripted corporate messaging every single time.
Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What call are you like bugged out?
All of them.
Most, everything?
Like, it's just like they're just so inconsistent. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you're on the other team and you're gonna be finding the shit out of me,
yeah,
cool. But let me do it to you.
Let you, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Want
Like,
consistency then.
yeah, like just give. And I think that players across the league and like new fans across the country, like everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not gonna do shit.
And here's what the old guard never understood. Sports fans aren't watching for safe, polite exchanges, they're here for rivalry, emotion, and authenticity. For years, WNBA coverage was sanitized into a bland, everyone respects everyone narrative to avoid conflict. Sophie just proved the opposite. Conflict attracts crowds, and real emotion creates loyalty. She turned tension into traction and criticism into credibility. From a business perspective, that's a massive shift. What Sophie is doing will reshape WNBA contracts. Media appearance clauses, social media rules, and sponsor obligations are now up for renegotiation. Because if Sophie can reach 1.6 million people directly, why would she agree to be silenced? If her truth-telling drives more engagement than any scripted talking point, why would she stick to the script?
The thing that I have the biggest issue about the female sides of refs is like, they're so emotional. Like the guys, no, the NBA officials, like the NBA players fuck those officials like no other.
Yeah.
Like I've worked broadcast, I've been to games, I'm friends with these people. They fuck them.
Yeah.
And the only person that I've ever seen able to like mother a ref on the women's side is Diana Taurasi.
And they like take it.
Yeah, they had to.
Yeah, they have to.
And like, but when she's probably one of the worst people that I've seen go after.
The balance of power has flipped and the scramble is on. Some outlets will adapt by loosening the reins and giving players more freedom. Others will cling to old-school access journalism and use team pressure to keep players in line. But the smartest operators? They'll pivot completely, partnering with players instead of trying to control them. And make no mistake, this isn't just a WNBA issue. Sophie's model could work in any professional sport. Direct, unfiltered athlete voices will always outperform sterile corporate content when the story is real. Fans will always believe someone who was in the locker room over someone who wasn't. The old model treated players as sources and fans as consumers. Sophie's way treats players as creators and fans as part of the conversation. That's the real reason the media is melting down.
Now, like the refs, and I'm not saying they're emotional, like the men and women, it doesn't matter the gender.
Yeah.
On our side, they are too emotionally invested and they can't take it. And I'm like,
is it new to the WNBA that you guys are like maybe talking more shit back to refs, or has that been a thing?
What we're witnessing now is the dawn of athlete-owned sports media, and Sophie Cunningham has become its face, whether she planned to or not. The old guard has a choice: evolve and offer something players actually want, or watch their relevance dissolve as stars like Sophie and Caitlin Clark build their own empires. The WNBA media landscape from just 6 months ago, it's already gone. It just hasn't had the funeral yet. Sophie proved that when players control the platform, authenticity destroys corporate messaging every single time. And now, every player knows they don't have to play the access game, which is why the traditionalists are in full-blown panic. Their system relied on fake scarcity and controlled access. Sophie blew both apart. Show your support for Sophie by dropping a fire spicy Sophie in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a moment. Click the video on screen, and we'll see you next.